Hey, Ronnie here. Shall we make a game? Whew. I am late and I am dead. So last time we kind of rewrote our sort of dialogue system to make generalized lists or menus, and at the moment when I click, the game crashes. Let's make it do something useful, shall we? So I think the reason it currently crashes is at... Here it is. I think it's this. Let's find out if it's that. I'm not sure if it is, but I think it is. Oh yeah, it's just complaint. This isn't used. What can I do about that? Can I just void this off in here? I probably can, right? Yep, it's happy with that. Good. So let's just make sure that's the cause of the crash. Wait for the animation to play that we can't see. Give it a few more seconds. Yeah, I think it was that. So what was it actually doing in here that might... Ah. Not really quite sure, but that was crashing. Let's have a look in the list component. So I think there's a structure in here might be doing something wrong. Let's put what to do in there. It's possible that we're not setting one of these component IDs. Wait, hang on. That's a different variable to that. Let's have a look at this. You have list component item list component IDs. So list component, okay, item. Right, we're looking at the wrong list here. Also, this won't work because I'm clearing the item from the list and then destroying it, meaning that I'm destroying effectively this because I've just... Okay. All right, so I need to take a copy of this before I clear it. Yeah. But this one should be different. Yeah. Okay, right, I can see where the confusion's come in. Right, there we go. Yeah, so the confusion here is that I've got each item in the list actually has two component IDs. It has the list that it's attached to and then the image that it's displaying. So when we're looking at an item, we're figuring out whether to delete it as part of a list. We need to make sure that it relates to the list. But then when it comes to actually deleting it, we need to use the image component it connects to. So there we go. And I'm just going to reintroduce this here. Okay. Just going to give that a few... Oh, hang on. I forgot about the... yeah, there's a few bugs with the render loop in this runtime. One of them is... oh, no, that still crashes. Do we have a in-console reason for that? What still crashes? I still haven't got rid of that keyboard shortcut. Opaque mesh component does not exist. What are you on about? Have I reused that message somewhere else? No. Why is it trying to delete an opaque mesh component? That doesn't make any sense. Hang on a second, what's happening here? So we're definitely populating this from this. Are we actually populating this? Or is it like defaulting to 0 or something? We never fill it in. That's probably why it crashes. Right, okay, I can tell you what's happening here, right? By default, this array will all be zeros. Okay, so what's probably happening is we're telling the component system to delete component 0 like 5 times in a row because there's like 5 things in the list. So it's probably deleting like the background object and then going, right, now I'm just going to delete the background object again. And then the mesh system is going, I don't know of a, you've already deleted mesh 0. Okay, yeah, so I was using the wrong array there. Oh, that's interesting. Am I using the wrong array somewhere else? Um, what am I doing wrong here? So I've got this first loop where it goes through and it looks at the component IDs. Grabs out an image. That's cool. Ah, right. And then that there was looking for an. Oh, I've just done it completely wrong. Oh, too many items. Okay, have we exceeded the number of items in the system? I'm not sure we have. Ah, I need to initialize this. Yeah, this one doesn't actually need initialization. I don't think. Yes, it actually does. We need to initialize both of them. Yeah. Because otherwise we'd have like a bunch of items which think they're in the first list component. There we go. We've restored order. Now when I click, after the animation finishes, there we go. Now it successfully deletes. So that's a win. That's a win. That's a pretty quick win. Oh, did I not commit any of this? Oh, okay. I'll get rid of that to do. So yeah, the next feature I kind of want to add is the ability to click on image components. As I've added image components, but at the moment you can't click on them. So let's go open the image component header file, and let's go open the pointer header file. I think there's a thing in here that, yeah, we'd probably call into this from pointer advance. Now, buttons are actually kind of, they're a lot more complicated than you might necessarily realize, but because obviously you can hover over them and then usually they kind of light up to indicate that you're hovering over them. And then you can click, but they don't actually activate until you release the mouse button. And the reason for that is you can actually, all right, this is probably a terrible example of an application to demonstrate this in. Yeah, they don't actually activate because I'm actually holding down the mouse button right now. You can mouse off them and you can use that to cancel out of an option if you realize that you've made a mistake. And you probably do that and not even realize you're doing it. So in theory, I'm going to need multiple states of the same. Yeah, I've just realized I'm going to need multiple states of the same button so that I can kind of like cycle between them. Now at the moment, the color of text is baked into the font, which is why I actually have multiple different. I have a dark and light variant with a small font. I might need to change that and make it so it's a. But then you couldn't intentionally have. Because I'm like, if the color wasn't supplied, so if the color was supplied at the time of yeah, at the time of rendering the text onto an image, you wouldn't then be able to have, say, you know, some letters in a sentence different colors to others, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's going to be later on. Not for this project, but something else I plan on building with this. So I need to have a bit of a think about how I'm going to deal with that. For now, I'll just not make the buttons light up. I'll just, under the hood, make it, you know, under the hood, make it do all the active stuff and things like that, so that you can later on put in hooks and make it do the color changes. I probably could just do a find replace on the color, to be fair. For now, wouldn't be ideal, but I could. Yeah, I could do that. Right. What was I saying? Ah! Can't type. This does mean that I'm going to need more than one callback in here. I'm going to need like active and held and things like that. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, let's implement this. Man, you can probably tell I'm not 100% with it today. Not only am I like horrendously late, I'm moving very slowly. I might only make it an hour today. Okay, so we have the position of the pointer. You know, I was considering calling it from here, but I think I'm actually not going to do that. And the reason is, oh wait, hang on. Maybe I should. I'm just getting confused here. Yeah, except if of course there's a pointer selection start callback, that's where you can click anywhere on the screen and it does something. It probably shouldn't ever be notifying the image component system of any like clicks or anything like that, because you shouldn't be able to click on anything. You know, the full screen has kind of like a big click target on it. So I wonder if I should have like some mass broadcast whenever you actually apply one of these callbacks, just so that it goes throughout the whole scene and goes like every single list item. You can't be selected right now, it's impossible. You know, if you were previously selected, please deselect. Let's bring in the image component into here. I might move all these variables into some kind of global state or something, given how often I'm going to be using them, rather than passing them around everywhere. It's so funny to me that it still thinks these are undefined. Okay, so I'll come into here and yeah, we're gonna need a lot more. Oh my god, sorry. We're gonna need a lot more callbacks than we currently have. So yeah, so we're gonna need a callback for hovering. Oh my god, my god. Oh my god. I can barely type today. What's the opposite of hovering something? I guess unhovered will do. Okay. Callback, which is called when the image component is when an image component starts being clicked. Oh, thanks. How's it going? And I wish I was more energetic today. I was a bit more energetic yesterday. Today I'm dead. Okay, so callback is called when the click of an image component is cancelled before confirmation. There we go. And then we should have one for when it's actually confirmed. Man, that's a lot more cool. That's a lot more callbacks. Yeah, we're gonna need more callbacks than that. Yeah, you might be right there. I'm normally awake at like 3 hours before I start the stream, and I just woke up 10 minutes before. Don't normally do caffeine, but the temptation is there. Yeah, I kind of went a bit overboard last night, so I know what I've done. Yeah, whenever I see, I'm trying to think what it was, I think it might have been CGP Grey or something a long time ago talk about caffeine, and I'm like, this sounds like an addict trying to justify their addiction. It's like, oh, did you know it's like good for you in this way and good for you in this way? And I'm like, this sounds like an addict trying to justify. Okay, we've probably broken a lot of things. Yes, we have. I'm going to have to get a full list of these. I will not remember all these. Glad it's not just me who thinks that then. Gonna need all those. Gonna need all those. And I'm gonna need them here. Right. Oh, I love this feature in Visual Studio Code, the way you can just like type on multiple lines at once. Yeah, I mean, it is actually insecticide, isn't it? I believe it kills ants. It's almost complete coincidence that apparently has some useful things for things that aren't ants. Oh, I didn't realize that. I guess things like dogs and cats probably, right? It's kind of interesting how we evolved, seemingly evolved to handle it. Because like, you can get some big. It's not just like a matter of like body mass, which well they kind of assumed, given that an ant is tiny and a human is kind of big, but there's some big dogs, and I imagine there's probably not a huge amount of mass difference. Ah, right, okay. Yes, that's a good point. We do seem to find a way to eat anything. It's like fugu, right? Puffer fish. It's like it's specifically evolved to kill anything that tried to eat it. It's like, we can cut out the bit you put in. Ah, it's all gone wrong. Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't exactly double check it, can you? I imagine. Like you can't just test it for poison before you try eating it, and you never quite know. I'd be curious to know what the what the kind of mortality rate is on something like that, because I'm pretty sure it'd have good stats on it, right? If someone died from it, there'd be big news. Right, this will fail to build because we've just changed the image create constructor. All right. Yeah. Completely over it today. I'm actually storing this callback anywhere. Oh, I'm passing it straight to the image component. Okay, I need to store it now. It is when you're completely. It is when you're just like completely and utterly sort of drained, and you're trying to solve logic problems and that you of your own creation. It's like I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. So at the minute, what's kind of happening is I have this sort of menu system that I'm sort of working on, and the idea is I need to be able to click on the items. At the moment, I can't. There's no code in here to handle that. Yesterday, I got the kind of drawing of them done. So I've got this bit here where it's kind of like creating like an image sort of object, and each kind of row is a separate image object. And I've just added a bunch of kind of like sort of hooks where you can say like when someone clicks on it, do this. When someone hovers over it, do this. So I'm about to update the bit that actually creates the image component in the list to, well, do something useful with that information. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to say no callbacks in any of this. I'm not going to make this menu item animate yet because as time comes, I'm basically trying to build a game in 2 months. I often do, so don't feel bad about that. Right, so we now have, this is going to get called when the item is clicked on, and then yeah, I need to work through the list of items, find the one that matches the component that's been clicked on, and then see if it has a click callback and run it. Man, I'm just trying to force ideas into my brain that just don't fit this morning. Okay, so searching for your... actually no. This is a desktop setup that's a pretty weird one. Yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to like figure out how to photograph it. I'm gonna have to take a picture of the setup because it's bizarre. I'm actually using one of the kind of Microsoft Ergo ones because I don't touch grass often enough. It's like for gaming, it's a terrible mouse. It's quite heavy and it has like input latency, but it's kind of like halfway between an ergonomic and a yeah, it's not quite a full ergonomic like this, which I think is a bit over the top. But it means you can go at about 45 degrees and like reduce like wrist twist. But yeah, it's definitely quite a heavy mouse, and that probably means that when I'm moving it, it kind of looks like it kind of looks touchpad like because it's kind of like so heavy. Oh, okay, right. I should probably be checking that because like I do have like a separate microphone quite a way away, but like I guess it might be picking it up. Yeah, when I do gaming and stuff, I do that standing up, and I think like controller noise is less of an issue. What am I doing? Train of foot completely derailed. Ah. Ah, right. I know someone who actually 3D printed a replacement shell for their mouse to make it like a skeleton, and if you sweat too much, I imagine it probably shorts out. I don't know. So we have the position in our list of components now that contains the image that we've clicked on, and we should then be able to get the. Well, I mean, something else that would probably help, something that I keep meaning to kind of sort out is you can do kind of like AI filtering, right? That listens specifically for a human voice and kind of filters out anything else. Because I've got a noise gate on this, but obviously the mouse and keyboard are probably close enough that it's tripping the noise gate. But that would probably help a lot. I did have a quick play around with it, but it seemed a bit over the top and it was cutting out quite often when talking, so it's not RTX voice, unfortunately, but it's along the same lines. Man, I've got basically nothing done in half an hour this morning. Okay. Yeah, that'd probably help quite a lot. Yes, I'm kind of surprised the mouse wheel doesn't come through all the time because it's kind of loud. Yeah, so I'm a complete lavalier microphone convert. I will never use anything that's not a lavalier mic ever again. Like you're having to kind of like you either have to sort of like position it and stuff like that, or having to like lean around it to see things on the screen. That was kind of annoying back when I used to use a proper microphone. The other reason though is that when I'm playing games, I tend to do them stood up with like a 3D tracking, and being able to move around with a microphone on is such a big deal. Okay, that should work, I think. Let me just check something. Yeah. Yeah, audio is always the hardest bit to get right. It's kind of nuts how it's always the hardest bit to get right. Okay, so yeah, no problem. I'm aware that I'm just completely shot and I'm probably not really rivet focusing, but like thanks for popping in. Right, so I need to store a reference to the item you're currently hovering or interacting with. Yeah, and hovering could also mean active, so that'll do. What I should probably also do, if I go to the pointer, is come to here, and I should probably still advance the pointer. But kind of feed it false information, tell it that there's no mouse cursor at all. Yeah, so that way if there's anything kind of being hovered or whatever, it'll deselect automatically. That solves the problem I was thinking about earlier. Oh my god, I'm so dead. Right, so we're now going to check through all of the images we have on the screen, and we're going to check if the mouse position is kind of overlapping. Oh, hang on. No, I'm going to make this a separate loop. I'm going to, right, I'm going to, yeah, because I've got a record of what we're currently sort of like are interacting with. Actually, I'm going to call that interacting index rather than hovering index, because you could be in the process of clicking on it. Right, and then we're going to work for a list of image components. We're going to do it backwards though, because we want to, the last thing in the list is drawn on top because they're drawn back to front. I mean, if you're mousing over something, whichever thing you hit last in the list is going to be what you're actually interacting with. So now we need to, we need to get the position of the mouse in kind of like the local space of the image. So pointer rows. Right, so that's the local rows. If it's above the top of the image, so if it's negative, yep. Otherwise, actually we also need to check if it's off the right edge as well. Let's get a reference to the image while we're here. Now, a bit of a complexity with this is that, of course, you could change the image or even remove it. Oh, I need to think about that. Yeah, I need to put a thing in here so that if you remove an image, it needs to like update the index. So if you remove the image that's currently being interacted with, it needs to deselect all images because you've deselected what you're interacting with. However, if you deselect one before, so if you destroy an image before the one you selected, you actually need to move the selection down a slot. Okay, so at some point I might actually make a bit of a design change to this because we've ended up, so it's what we call a dense array, right? So we've got like a list of, I don't know, like say 50 buckets for images, and there's not allowed to be any gaps. And the reason for that is it means that you can just basically start at the start and go forwards until you find an empty slot. And at that point, I can stop drawing. It means that if you're just drawing the images, you're not having to load in the data for the rest of the buckets that you're not working with into the CPU cache. However, because there's actually quite a lot of information we store about an image, it means that every time we remove one, we have to kind of like shuffle all the buckets down to fill the gap we've just made. And that actually means we're doing a huge amount of copies. And we might actually be making a performance loss overall by doing that. Anyway, let's grab the image. Okay, so we do all this, we know that it's within the image, and then next up, I think I already have a function that samples an image at a, yep, there it is. So we can do a check to see whether, I'm just gonna go for like a 50-50 opacity level so that if, it's more than half opaque, it counts as a clickable area. I think I've got an extract alpha, yes I do. I'm gonna sample the color. If it's bigger than say 128, no, hang on, if it's less than 128, then we exit the loop. Well, we sort of like, continue statement, such a weird one. I guess there's not really a good word for this, but it basically like, if you hit this continue, it means that none of this code gets executed, instead like goes back up here and just tries the next item. I guess continue kind of fits, but it's kind of a weird choice of word, isn't it? Okay, so if all this criteria are met, we're inside the image and the pixel we landed on appears to be opaque, then this must be the image component we're hovering over. And then we exit the loop because we found one. So next up, we need to what do we need to do? I guess we don't really look at the pointer state per se, unless it's unavailable. I guess that's kind of important. I'm actually going to add another thing in here to say whether, yeah, I'm going to start moving some pointer stuff to the global variables because this pointer state is going to get kind of complicated with time. Like it's going to start including things like light gun support and touch support. Most things don't really care about, they don't really care about exactly what kind of input device you're using. They just care about, well, does this mean that you're hovering over an item? Does it mean that you're clicking on it? Yeah. But that said, hang on, that said, some of those input devices, like for example, a mouse, you can hold down and you can drag off and it means you don't, don't click the button. But some of them, like say a light gun, you would want it to interact immediately. So I might have to do some annoying stuff in here. Okay. All right. So oh, something else that's just occurred to me. All of this should be skipped if the pointer state's unavailable. It should just deselect whatever you currently have selected. Oh, I call it the interacting index, didn't I? Yeah. So that name is so good, I've already forgotten what it was. How to tell that you've named something correctly in code. You've already forgotten what it was before you've even finished using it. Okay, let's sort this out. So if we are destroying the image we're interacting with, then mark it as no longer being interacted with. Okay. Otherwise, if it's greater than it, hang on, if the one we've destroyed comes before what we're interacting with, then decrement it, because the buckets have all moved down and we need to keep lined up with the bucket we've just moved. Right, so we're clearing it there. Oh yeah, we also need to notify the component we've just cleared. So we've got a, oh, okay, hang on. We need to keep track of, yeah, we need to keep track of whether it's being clicked on at the time. Okay. So we've clicked on something, so clear that, and then we need to keep track up here of, I've already brought the ball header in. Right, so yeah, we just undo whatever that was done at the time of doing it. That sort of makes sense, I think. In fact, I'm going to have this exact same code down here when, if it turns out that we're interacting with something different. So I might put that into its own thing. De-interact, is that a word? No, it's not a word. Oh my God. I'll type it correctly eventually. So we need to get this callback out, and then we actually need to check whether they've actually supplied one, because it's entirely possible they haven't. Let's just get the component index out. Yeah, we need to yeah, so all we've got at the moment is a position in our list of components. We don't actually have the ID that kind of links to. It gets kind of complicated, but components could be anything. They could be like a 3D object. It could be like a timer or an animation or something like that. But in this case, what we have is we have like a, you know, kind of like a bucket number. You know, we have like image component 10. It's like, well, that might be component like 30, and whatever is being told about the click or whatever doesn't know about our internal list of buckets. All it knows about is the component ID it's attached to. So we need to look that up, dereference it. I think it'd be the right term for it. I would like to simplify this at some point, but I haven't had a great idea yet on how to actually how to do that without because like you got things like these dense lists of things like meshes and whatever, and as a result, the numbers can change because they move between buckets. I haven't really thought of a really good way of dealing with that yet. Right, what background music am I sticking on next to make sure I don't mumble? You guys can't hear it, it's just so that I don't mumble as much. All right. Are you happy with that syntax? What are you talking about syntax highlighting? It's right there. Oh, okay. The callback shouldn't have been in there. Pass that component ID through. I should probably also clear this flag while I'm here. Yep, that's good. Okay, so first things first, no matter what's going on. Oh, hang on, that's not true. I was like, first things first, I need to, I was thinking first things first, I need to, you know, change which object I'm interacting with. That's not actually true because like you can grab a button, click it, come off it, and then go back onto it. So that's not actually true. Okay, so we've got quite a few cases here. It could be that you're currently hovering over, you're currently not interacting with anything, but you've hovered over something, right? That's possible. Or it could be that you're hovering over the thing that you're currently interacting with, and there's multiple levels of potential interaction with it. Or it could be that you're now hovering over something different. So there's actually many cases here. Okay, record what we're now interacting with. Actually, no, that's wrong too. What am I even doing? Right, so we're not slick. We're not clicking the mouse. We're just hovering over something right now. Put that there, but comment it out for later. Yeah, so if we're hovering over the wrong object, we need to cancel any current interactions and then, hang on, my brain. If we're not, oh, hang on. Oh my God. Ah. Okay, it's not even there. I'm definitely going to stop it now today. My brain is just not functioning at all. I might split this out into multiple things. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Right, so that's deactivating, it's unhovering. This just means we don't need like copy of this, like this, component ID lookup and this kind of like if statement lookup each and every time we. Oh my god, brain's so tired. Each and every time we try and call a callback, it just means it's kind of like sort of done for us. Bit messy, bit kludgy, but it'll do. Right, maybe we should start with the simpler cases and kind of work from there. I think that would make a lot of sense. So I'm actually going to make this function again, but I'm going to make it using these. Right, so actually, no, I'm not. Oh my god. Brain is dead. Right, so in the event that the mouse becomes unavailable, we just clear whatever state we have set, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if we're, just about if we're half of you clicking on it. Doesn't matter if we're hovering over it. Doesn't matter. The mouse has gone away, as far as we're concerned. Okay, that's simple enough. And next up, let's do the simplest states first of all. So if we know where the mouse is, but it's not clicking, and it's not currently hovering over anything, then we are now interacting with the object, with the image that's directly under the cursor. So we set that as the interacting, and then we record that we're hovering, and we then execute the callback if there is one. I've just realized I'm not actually using this index in here. So no matter what I pass into that function, it would always have instead just grabbed a random component off the heap. Great. Okay, so the only thing that we really need to do if we're not clicking the mouse, and so if we're mousing over the thing that we were previously mousing over, we now need to check if this is no, I just realized what I've done. That's yeah, it's been an hour. I'm going to stop because I'm just making some really dumb mistakes here. What I basically said there is, if I'm hovering over nothing, tell nothing that I'm hovering over it. I'm like, no, I need to stop before I do more damage. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry I had the amount of suffering this probably was, because I am completely not with it, and I should be allowed nowhere near a keyboard or heavy machinery. Have a great Sunday.